You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. It's still overcast, but the rain of the last 24 hours has passed in the Low Country as Charleston Battery welcome North Carolina FC. A peek at the Eastern Conference standings, both in great position at the midway point in the season. North Carolina, 2 games in hand, and they sit 9 points back of Charleston in second. Battery are just 5 points off the Players' Shield race entering the game tonight. And good evening, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand. We hope you've had a great 4th, 5th, and now 6th of July. You close out the holiday weekend here with a doozy, Devin. 2 teams in the top 4. And even at the midway point in the season, I think both can say there's something on the line tonight.
I would start with North Carolina and the fact that this team has quickly become a real contender in the Eastern Conference. They're the only team in the entire league that has wins against teams currently occupying top 2 spots, regardless of conference. A win here today legitimizes them as a contender come playoff time. The Charleston Battery, they understand that, but they also want a bit of revenge from the loss back in March 2-1 in Cary. More importantly, Mike, they want to keep pace with Louisville City. The gap is now 5 points in the playoff Shield run after Louisville's go against Colorado Springs on Friday.
All right, take a look at the Battery attack this season, Devin. Second to none.
They're good at interchange between each other within the midfield. Combination play is everything for them. They've got strikers up top, wingers that are willing to challenge you. They can open the game up and slow it back down. This is the best arsenal in the entire league, but there's more to it. Ben Pierman feels like this team, pressing-wise, can push this team into the stratosphere and beyond.
As for what's made North Carolina FC great, let's go ahead of the curve.
John Bradford took his 2023 League One title-winning team and quickly made this about character, discipline, and organization. So the way that they go about their business successfully, they want to sit mid to low. They will allow their opponent to have possession. They keep it organized in front of them, good communication, with always understanding, Mike, where the most potent threat is going to come from. This is a great play against Cal Jennings and the Charleston Battery back in that 2-1 March victory. But then it's about how do they break you down. It's movement within the midfield and unlocking long balls in transition. That's where they find the most success attacking-wise. This is a 70-second clip of their ability to withstand pressure and then spring going the other direction. All of which culminates with their ability to get numbers in the box in those late trailing runs. That is how they find results. But don't just take my word for it. Let's go back to the tape that was the 2-1 result. Speaking with John Bradford, asked him directly, how much do you go look at the numbers? He said, it's the first thing we took a look at. They limited Charleston Battery to one of their worst performances on the season. They look to replicate the same game plan here tonight.
North Carolina have been giant killers. Now they're trying to prove they themselves are giants. The 2023 champion of League One against one of the most historic clubs in American soccer. It is the Charleston Battery and North Carolina FC. Lineups and kickoff are next on CBS Sports Network. Patriots point in Charleston, South Carolina to close out the Independence Day weekend. The USL on CBS Sports presented by Best Western. The Battery, North Carolina in this top 4 affair. Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, take a look at the starting lineup for Charleston in a very busy week.
Good news, Aaron Malloy back into the midfield. Emilio Icaza will come higher with this group specifically, and the tactical matchup against North Carolina. Ben Pierman's going to want them to open this game up a little bit. They've got the speed to do so, but they have to provide balance either with heavy on the right with Juan David Torres, the incorporation of Arturo Rodriguez necessary for the success up top with a single striker tonight. So we broke down North Carolina FC and John Bradford's Band of Merry Men. I wonder how much they're willing to chase that narrative. Charleston Battery recognize exactly what the game plan is going to be, but North Carolina know that as well. They need to evolve here, not just going end to end, but the ability to play the game higher up, put pressure on the Charleston Battery, create turnovers, and create success.
North Carolina has won League One 2 years ago, but their starting defender, Paco Craig, twice a championship winner, 5-time All-League player. Meanwhile, Charleston, one of the more historic clubs in the history of American soccer, 4-time league champions, most recently in 2012. In the shadow of the USS Yorktown, and despite torrential rain in the last 36 hours, Charleston and North Carolina conclude the weekend in the USL Championship. Juan David Torres gets us started, and here we go. A fun one in the top 4 of the East between the Battery and NCFC. The field has certainly gotten plenty of wear and tear. Rain over the last 24 hours has certainly not been kind. They've also been making the transition from a winter ride to Bermuda concurrently with that rain. But it is dry enough that it should provide a fair enough surface for both sides here tonight. Up and away by Sundstrom. Picked up by Arturo Rodriguez, who got flipped by Sundstrom. 20th meeting all time between clubs that have existed in multiple iterations of USL, other leagues, featured in Open Cup ball, whipped across. Done with by Graham Smith. Burner. Perez. Burner, Perez, rolls in. There's Aaron Malloy, who's fit enough to start here tonight. I'll get Ben Pierman to lean forward in his chair, but not get out of it. The fact this is a throw. You always hope you get a good throw off. If you're going to do arm circles before you toss, if you only throw it 10 feet, that's not all that impressive. This will do the job.
I'd appreciate if you keep my business out of this broadcast.
Mikey Maldonado will head over again. There's Ben Pierman. It is his 3rd season at the helm for the Charleston Battery. Devin, one thing you could say is if he does fall to a team, he very rarely does it twice in a row, and that's what makes this North Carolina game so intriguing, I suppose. Very few teams manage to get the best of him. Perez floats and grabbed by Zamudio.
Since Ben Pierman took over the Charleston Battery in 2023, he's faced 24 different opponents, and to your point, Mike, only 3 times has he lost back-to-back matches against the same team. Louisville, the loss earlier this year, as well as their final game last season. Colorado Springs spread between 2023 and 2024, and El Paso Locomotive in the same window. North Carolina FC can do that. That's a little stat in the grand scheme of things for fans to take a look at. I think more importantly, this is about pressure for North Carolina FC. to get everybody else around the league to take notice of the fact that they just haven't moved into the top 4, that they're really putting pressure on Loudoun and drawing even closer in conversation for one of those coveted top 2 spots.
That would mean hosting 2 playoff games potentially, and should the 1 seed get upset, which is not uncommon in this league, a chance to host all the way to the final. All the while, there is John Bradford, his 5th year as the head coach, took over from Dave Sarakin. Spent 14 years as an assistant, the academy director at North Carolina FC. Never played as a pro, although he did sign with the club in 2020, the age of 40 due to an injury crisis. Played at Furman for 4 years. Was part of the US Youth national team as a player prior to that. North Carolina, that's a strong road record. Above 500's a win. Here's Burner. Ball knocked across with a flick. Finds the backside, but the whistle had gone.
Keep an eye how quick they go. They are very good, North Carolina FC, from restarts. I talked about their ability to transition. Now, that is certainly their biggest asset. It can get them in trouble defensively, but the second biggest area of where they're impactful is on restarts. Set pieces, 42% of their goals come from dead ball situations.
Graham Smith. No Leland Archer tonight. Away on excused leave. Aponono, who slid into a starting role much of the season. His 12th start. On to Dos Santos. Aaron Malloy. Torres. It's too far for MD Myers.
Past couple of matches, while they've been trying to get healthy down underneath, they've still had top quality performances from MD Myers, Cal Jennings. Jennings not in the 11 tonight. That's about load management with travel as well as the fixture congestion. They've been through it, and Ben Pierman felt like the physical test for him probably not the best to push the player to 90 minutes and instead utilize him off the bench as they did in their 4-1 result against Phoenix Rising. Thinks that that added spark will really suit them well, especially with the tactical matchup that could be wide open in the second half.
North Carolina hasn't played since their Jaeger Cup game on Sunday against Louisville. That match was actually delayed by a day due to travel issues impacting North Carolina. The delay didn't prove to be an issue for Louisville as they went to Colorado Springs and got a win on Friday night. As unfortunate as that disruption to their week was, North Carolina at least have the 2 extra days to prepare coming out of it. Alex Anderson. Olabella flanking off the right. Covered by Charleston with ease.
And here's that defensive line that I talked about for North Carolina FC. Just notice how apparent the lines are. They are willing to concede possession, Mike. They'll sit back, absorb pressure. The whole idea is not allowing the balls to come right through the middle of their midfield. They want to eliminate guys like Aaron Malloy and the drop downs that you'll get out of Icaza and the wandering runs from Arturo Rodriguez. Keep it in front of you, allow the balls to go side to side, and they'll be just happy with it. That's also exactly where Ben Pierman is going to look to exploit. He recognizes that a little bit more freedom is necessary for Arturo Rodriguez and Juan David Torres in order for them to find the breakthrough.
Anderson tried to chop it on. It's Malloy opening up. Langston Blackstock. Can't imagine this is what you're looking for. It's those two deep-lying lines, but Aaron Malloy standing on top of it. This will be a bit unnerving. Ball ahead, really well worked. Ikaza spinning around Paco Craig. Dos Santos. Landry.
Keep an eye where the ball comes from here from Landry out of the midfield. I mentioned the rotation that you get out of the width, but Aaron Malloy recognizing the separation that had quickly become about 20 yards between he and the midfield. That first touch by Landry, excellently done. Little 5-yard positive touch. You know, you can allow the wings, Mike, to step into that gray area and those two clean lines defensively, but Aaron Malloy and Landry will have the same sort of freedom that we're talking about, that luxury to really attack the game, go vertical in nature, and challenge Mikey Maldonado and Raheem Summersall centrally.
Apodono. That'll play. Malloy. Just out of the reach of Blackstock. North Carolina winners of 4 of 5 in the league. The only team to beat the current Players' Shield leader, Louisville City. They've been great at home, but the TST actually took away a chunk of time in which they weren't able to play at their home venue. It's one of the big reasons why they've played so many more road games than they have at home. Chugging forward, Metzigan. Landry. Dos Santos. Flag finally goes up. You know, Dev, I think you and I both take the approach of you are who you beat. And sometimes you begin a season and it can be a misleading win over a team you think is going to be good. And time can, in some ways, deteriorate those wins or make them look even better. In the case of North Carolina, what they've done this year in beating Louisville and having good results against other top teams, whether they win this game or not, I think a lot of people are turning at North Carolina right now going, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
It's already there, right? And I'm not even looking at teams that are right at the playoff line, are currently occupying a playoff position. I think we've gotten to the point that with the consistency that John Bradford has been able to put out, we're looking at the top 4. That's what this team has reached right now. So last season, 3 wins in 11 against teams that finished in one of those coveted home playoff spots in the top 4. They've already got 3 through 5 this year. It's real dedication to their craft of, okay, this is our identity. We can sit, we can be a countering team, but we have to have the belief that as the season goes on, our depth is going to be challenged as well. So even through Jaeger Cup, obviously plenty of teams navigating Open Cup throughout the championship as well, they have been able to really test their depth and still replicate those high quality results.
It indicate that time last year making the move up to the championship. A lot of players new to that level. And the addition of guys this season that continued that progression put them in an even better position after a season in which they did make the playoffs. They are the OG promoted championship team. Pro-Rel's coming, not yet.
That's what you're leading with here.
League One and did come up after. But there was no yo-yo involved for them. Graham Smith.
Appanonu. That runs out. Let's tell you, you can show off your team pride in style. Official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR code now. Rain starting to come down a bit more vociferously. Dev, I imagine when you played, you were fine with rain. It was just if it came accompanied by anything that became an issue.
Sure.
Germany, you probably played through the lightning. Ball in for Malloy.
I know this is hard to believe, Mike, but I was a little particular when it came to the water. I didn't like being wet to start.
And as we know, water is wet.
Bingo. Yeah, thanks for the clarification there. You know, going out into warm-ups, everything's wet. Change your gear right before you go out again before game time. I always loved it when I knew that bad weather was coming, specifically rain. And I'd go out and the game would start, and then it started to downpour. It's fun. You could line guys up a little bit further away. Not saying I'm not promoting that type of behavior. I love the way the ball would skip off the pitch and, you know, service distribution-wise, trying to find some of those long balls up over the top coming off the back line. Guys streaking in behind it always benefited you, and the footing was an interesting question mark for goalkeepers to be able to go and test them.
The idea of you doing a two-footed slip and slide tackle really is getting me right now.
It really is amazing that behavior still is an issue for me 20 years later. Not the case right here for Joey Appanonu. Great timing on the tackles. He's really progressed himself into a player who, the idea for him coming out of college, his time with Bowling Green, a unicorn, the left-footed center back, always good with the ball at his feet and quickly finding the passages to move forward. It was more about his timing and communication with runs, exactly where the marks were going to be, and making sure that if he was going to pass or he was the one that was picking up, that it was more efficient in nature. And in the absence of Graham Smith and Leland Archer, such has been the case.
I would have thought Bowling Green State University, center back you. Lexi Sawahi came out of there too. Had some good years in the championship in League One. This is a yellow card worthy challenge.
I would say it's as much as the challenge itself as well as the continued movement from the other side. Really high here from Dolabella on Dos Santos. Dangerous and very fortunate that the studs spin off and he doesn't catch him clean.
We'd be having a different conversation.
I mentioned earlier, and just keep an eye here, as good as North Carolina FC are from dead balls on the attacking side, 42% are given up defensively. This is the area that they really struggle when it comes to where opponents are able to break them down.
Malloy. You didn't like being wet. Imagine how the fans feel right now. There's not enough ponchos in the gift shop to savor this moment.
There is liquid encouragement, though.
Yeah.
On course B.
This right after Tropical Storm Chantal came through. Wind starting to pick up. Uncomfortable times for those who don't get the pleasure of a broadcast booth. Appanonu. Slid through, drop off, the return. Toward goal, sliding toward the line and chipped away. Is that Sundstrom who got there? Pops out, blasted toward frame by Torres. That was blocked. It's still on for Charleston. The cutback ball, top of the 18, sliding Torres. Landry, make it Malloy. Ball deflects, slid aside by Menzigan, and now the whistle.
Beautiful ball movement by Joey Apinonu. Actually makes a mistake where the ball pops back out in front of him. And then Emilio Icaza cannot be any cleaner with the ball back out in front of Juan David Torres. I'm a bit surprised he didn't try and hit it himself. And the recovery of not one, but two separate players on the back line for North Carolina FC. That was in and done. 1-0, glory written all over it in the lead, and instead, that is the character we talked about in the open from the visitors.
Best chance yet. It's scoreless inside 20 minutes here in Charleston. Players back up, that's good news. The rain has started to temper a bit as well. Hectic moments inside the penalty area. Rain will be intermittent throughout, but our camera operators will be there through it all. Adam, Joe, Marty, Gary flanking the field today.
I got to tell you, I always talk about that coveted pretzel mustard combination in the food court on the opposite end. We got to make a call and get them some hot refreshments and culinary delights up top. That's a possibility, right?
You're paying for it, right?
Absolutely.
Torres.
Can I have your card?
Yeah, gets out for a corner. Torres, the king of shots 19 yards or further.
And out of your seats, make some noise. It's time for another Pepper Lawford corner kick.
Take it short. Torres, that did skip into McGuire. Jake McGuire's been here for a minute. 30 years old, started in Tulsa 2013 to 16. Ultimately went to Houston in the draft in 17, didn't sign, goes to Philly, 2 years there. A trip to Sweden for a stint, then to Miami. He was with North Carolina back in 2021 and then returns in 2024. Field's taking a beating from the tropical storm that just went through, and he's gonna suffer through 90 minutes tonight. Quarter of this game in the books. Charleston's best flurry of chances yet, just into the rear view. Smith. Spare a thought for Perez. Icaza. Certainly been ambitious start of this match. Speaking of,
You know, the best we've seen from the Battery so far this evening has been their ability on some of those quick balls. You know, Emilio Icaza had one, Landry, where they were able to access the engine room and then find one of those diagonals that come over across. The other area you want is moments like this, Mike, but you need an extra man with you. The one-on-one isn't going to benefit. North Carolina's too good defensively.
Suarez hangs it up. Dos Santos, a letdown.
And the way that you go about it to create the man advantage is you have to be a little bit more aggressive with your outside backs. You allow Juan David Torres and Arturo Rodriguez, they start to pitch it a little bit. Depending on the side that you're moving the passage through, Nate Dos Santos on the left, Blackstock on the right, they then have to jump up. And as they go, it's the timing on the run to quickly get in behind one of the wingbacks from North Carolina FC. Then Icaza can pinch out. And either side, those wingers that we just referenced, quickly, it's a 2v1, 3v2 type game, all of which looking for MD Myers to get on the end of it in the 6.
Landry. Torres wanders the newly laid Bermuda grass. Charleston 5 points behind Louisville atop the East after straw.
That's a good ball. That's got to be a quick decision, and then again, secondary run to come up high. It's got to go more vertical here for the Battery.
Casa tried to lay that back for Malloy. Instead, it's Anderson who's taking it at the halfway line, and he's out on the run. Olex Anderson, bodied by Landry, shoulder to shoulder. Wow.
I gotta feel like in the moment he got away with one there. A little bit coming from behind for me. I agree with you that it is the shoulder that he leads with, but it felt like it was coming on that back left side for Anderson.
I mean, if you're not blowing a whistle there, I'm just interpreting what's been given. We get to look at it again, though.
As long as you stay consistent with it, that's where the true test of all of this will be. And credit to Landry to push back in. It's a little bit closer than I thought. To me, it's still from behind.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that that's that good old how do you do that both you and I grew up with. Different sports, of course.
Well, no, I just had two brothers.
It's amazing what they let you get away with in American football.
In over the top. Well, Bella couldn't latch onto it. It's also worth noting Apononu was providing support behind. It would not have been a red card by any measure for what it's worth. That was not the last defender. Torres, Somersault looks in. He was a change in midfield. They chose to start him rather than Colin Martin in this game. Mensigan into Anderson. Olex Anderson settles Anderson. Would have been tough to beat Zamudio from that angle. It did take a deflection en route. That's out for a corner.
It's all on the quick step, though, coming up through the midfield. Really well done on the timing. Landry's got to be cleaner on the ball overall. But then Lloyd Perez, as he comes all the way across the field, notice I talk about the verticality lacking a little bit for the Charleston Battery. That's exactly where North Carolina FC is at their best. Rafa immediately finding Anderson, who wrong foots his center back, and then good recovery by Joey Apononu to eliminate that near post threat.
Corner for North Carolina. We were looking for Craig. Whip back toward goal. There's nothing in that. That was Anderson at the back post. Landry hug it out.
It's a combination of losing footing as well as a dominance that has been a very interesting physical battle. We've seen Emilio Icaza a few times, certainly Landry within the midfield, mixing it up with Anderson up top. This is exactly what John Bradford wants, though. You know, understanding that most of the chances that they have conceded have been from distance. There was the one on the breakthrough. Great exchange between Icaza and MD Myers up top. But outside of that, everything's kept on the outside. They haven't really allowed them to consistently find threats in between those stout defensive units. And then pick and choose your moments at times going quickly the other way.
You see the rain is just pouring now.
Just tremendous discipline, Mike. You know, Summerstall's not willing to come up high and take the bait. Instead, Aaron Malloy he's trying to draw him in. He wants that run to come immediately. Then it allows him to come to Aponono. They could go back to the inside, or that long ball goes down into the corner. Instead, patience, truly a virtue. They create a turnover and handle possession in their own right.
Half an hour gone, it's with North Carolina. Craig Sundstrom, who's got a bit of a potential decision on his hands. Good news for North Carolina, Connor Donovan is available off the bench tonight. You've got another quality center back available to you. Sundstrom's taken the job and done really well with it. He's on an academy deal, which is to say the intention is for him to leave to go to UNC middle of the summer. But you're focused on the now. You just wonder, as he makes start number 11 of the season, whether it's a conversation worth having. Extend his stay. You and I both have long ties to the college game. I don't think there's anything wrong in this country with choosing to go the collegiate route, and especially now in the era of NIL.
I applaud it. I also need to figure out exactly what the parents are putting in these kids' meals. 17 years of age, he's well advanced in his life. You know, we talk about the evolution of teams. It's always fun to watch the maturation process for players. Sundstrom on the back line, you know, they don't really utilize him as the commander-in-chief of the three. Instead, push him a little bit more outside. He's got speed to his disposal, also pretty clean with the ball off his feet. And physically, he's got a gift in the air. He's the one that you want matched up against one of the towers when they start to threaten in moments like this.
That back three left to right tonight, Sundstrom, Washington, and Craig. Torres, well, wouldn't you know it? Sundstrom, the first ball out. Arturo Rodriguez, the man's a magnet. Torres, wayward. Here comes the most ironic hydration break in the history of the sport. Devin is slack-jawed, which means we should step aside for 30 seconds. We're scoreless, it's raining, but they need water. Have you regained your footing, Devin?
Footing, yes. Common sense, no.
If you're that thirsty, it's 82 degrees and the humidity is 77%. Open your mouth and point your head up. I mean, come on.
It's an interesting decision. Being fully respectful of Mother Nature and what's going on. This is not an easy environment to play in. I didn't necessarily see a hydration break in our future. Ben Pierman, he's not going to care either way. Saw some of the hand gestures right there. The magical black book that makes its way onto the magnetic board, showcasing the width of the field, and he was talking about the rapidity of play, picking up the speed of some of their decisions. In general, I would agree, but also, him pointing to the outside. He wants them to create those mismatches, and this team, the Charleston Battery, Mike, it's all predicated upon relationships, right? The Charleston Battery are so good at playing off the back line. They'll hit that long ball, reset you defensively, and then it's a numerical game for them. It doesn't matter where it's at on the field, but right now the way that they best take advantage of the space against NCFC is on the outside. They haven't been able to create enough for MD Myers, and because of that, there's frustration that has boiled over here onto the sideline. And
middle of your screen, that was Louis Perez, who was speaking a little too long to Alyssa Nichols, shown a yellow card for dissent. He's like, but why are we taking a hydration break? I don't.
It's obviously because of the heat, Mike.
Equally ironic, as soon as the hydration break is over, the heaviest rain dissipates. Oh, they don't pay me enough to consider this stuff. That is 4 to 6 levels above my pay grade.
You get paid?
Not enough for pretzels. Well, to get this train back on track, top 4 matchup here in the Eastern Conference in Charleston, South Carolina. It is North Carolina FC taking on the Charleston Battery. NCFC, and a tremendous, is apparently working their way into a 2-horse race with Louisville for the regular season title, the Players' Shield. They're 5 points distant at the moment. Charleston giving us 90 minutes we'd like to have back on Wednesday night against Birmingham, a 0-0 draw. Dropped into the final third, and he'd probably like to have that ball back too.
It is interesting in the Players' Shield race. You talk about the Charleston Battery and Louisville City, who have certainly distanced themselves from their opponents, namely Loudoun in the East and New Mexico United in the West. Even for New Mexico United, with the 2 games in hand, they win both of them. Bird in the hand, 2 in the bush type combo. They get to 31 points. They're still 6 back of Louisville. And that's the type of quality that Danny Cruz and Titletown have been able to create early on this season. Halfway through, chatting with Ben Pierman. You can talk game plans and health of players. The expectation for the Charleston Battery has quickly returned to title or bust. That's where they're at, similar to what we see every single season for Louisville City. The resurgence of one of the great names in the American soccer pyramid is now all about getting back atop the heap and putting another piece of hardware on the mantle.
Ball ahead to MD Myers, Ikaza circulating. Inside Malloy, offers the cross, pops in the air to McGuire.
I thought it was really well done by MD Myers on the first one, just to keep it alive. The second one, there's just so much traffic. He's very good at reestablishing his runs. Unfortunately, the way that he had to bend and then try and pick up momentum. It's a good ball by Aaron Malloy, but quite the task for MD Myers to be able to complete.
Well, Those possession numbers are staggering, but perhaps not surprising. Carolina's got it now, which has proven to be a rarity, giving it away. The race for the cup continues Tuesday. Minnesota United goes head-to-head with Chicago Fire in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals. Don't miss kickoff 8 Eastern on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount Plus.
Well,
you and I have that game.
Just a little bit of sleep between now and then. That's not going to happen, but I can almost guarantee you goals in the game.
Greg Berhalter has got Chicago scoring quite a bit in MLS right now. And Minnesota's done quite well in the Western Conference, to be fair.
I was going to say Eric Ramsey and the way they go about their business is actually quite similar to the structure of North Carolina FC, keeping the game in front of them. The depth in the midfield, a little different with Will Trapp underneath, but still like to transition. Good ball.
He's gotten his just reward. He's found his way into the final third time and time again. This time, Icasa strikes gold. 1-0 Charleston.
If you can't get the win on the outside, then you have to create underneath, and it's about movement. Juan David Torres does everything right here. He inverts his run. Aaron Malloy drops under, and then watch the head up the entire time. You get Mikey Maldonado to bite just a bit, and that allows Landry to come all the way back across. Dolabella doesn't track. Just enough space, the perfect timing to the ball into the corner to free up that late lying run behind MD Myers. And Emilio Icasa has found the breakthrough.
4 goals each of the last 2 seasons. That is his first of the campaign. Blackstock his first assist. And Icasa's put Charleston ahead tonight. And you see the whole Battery bench. They're up and at him. This is the top scoring team in the league. Fun moment. Ben Pierman looked like the work had only just begun. Something's gone haywire here. It's Ben Pierman leaning down to check on the player.
Within all of it, there's no doubt that nearly every member donning a Battery shirt always willing to lay down the law. Maybe some vengeance repaid by Nate Dos Santos on the challenge that was the opening 15 minutes on the opposite end.
Well, good to see Metzgen back up. Unfortunately for the Gardeners, it's a little more work to do on the field. That was quite a divot that got left. This is usually pristine. It's just an unfortunate confluence of rain and field resodding. Driven forward by Maldonado. Zamudio, he's got it now. Finalist for Sueño MLS in 2015. A Las Vegas native who spent the better part of 4 years at Club America Premier, reserve team for the Mexican Giant. Came back to the U.S. Dos Santos was shown a yellow for that slide into Rafa Metzgen a moment ago. It's the first yellow card for a member of the Battery. Luis Perez and Pedro Dolabella are on yellows for North Carolina FC.
And defensively, very impressive from the Battery, the way that they've created these shadows on the inside, both Juan David Torres and Otero Rodriguez. You know, I mentioned, Mike, how narrow they can get and build. If you watch them, once North Carolina pick up some possession, which certainly hasn't been a plenty, they're coming even further in to eliminate that initial outlet ball to try and find the long one up over the top. Mikey Maldonado Raheem somersault.
This is a winding run for Dos Santos, but Mensigan dealt with it. Maguire away.
If you're John Bradford, the communication's going to be, you have to now bypass that central ball. So you have to go direct up off the back line, or it's got to be quicker into those wing backs. You're going to be isolated one-on-ones. They'd like to have the man advantage, but more importantly, if that ball's out in front, the Battery are aggressive right now. They are vacating space on the width of the field. That will allow you to play a little bit more into the channels.
Matter of minutes before first half stoppage. Ball ripped away by Dolabella. Charleston back into position. Out here to Maldonado. Fights through the raindrop. Mensigan, Maldonado. Curls a ball in behind, will sweep all the way into the corner. Service up for Anderson. Snap back over to Mensigan. 4 added minutes. That slides out for a corner. You think about North Carolina, a team that thrives in counterattacking. Typically, teams that do that well also, if you're going to be this high in the standings, as we see there's already pool toys out there, which is a terrible omen for what lies in store. I wish I hadn't looked down the tunnel, but set pieces usually go hand in hand with that. And North Carolina's been both exceedingly good scoring them, really struggling to defend them. Ball across, headed away, shot back in, launched. Santos, Craig. And Maguire.
Have to wonder through the weather and patterns that have been if Charleston Battery Club President Lee Cohen is perched atop his normal seat, far side of the bleachers in the middle. He's a man of many talents, though doesn't necessarily stray from his tendencies of watching up high. It's a better view, to be fair.
Well, he did the exact same thing at Tampa Bay, right? They had that platform
Yeah.
on the far side bleachers that he'd always wander up to.
Well, the best is regularly when Mother Nature doesn't get in the way. Stadium's packed, and there's always this tiny little area roped off. He gets aggressive in hand gestures at times, doesn't want to gesticulate too much and knock some of the patrons down.
That's what the velvet ropes are for.
Bingo. Oh, well done.
Anderson trying to break through. Landry still had to work through that. Dolabella, that's a really clever ball into Anderson.
It's about as direct as you can be, and beautiful understanding by North Carolina FC, the space in behind. This is a blue-collar team, man. They work, and they work. They make you feel uncomfortable, and then they push that conversation a little bit further. Second chance ball coming off the flick on. To be fair, the Charleston Battery transitional defending much better as the season has gone on. Just 3 shutouts to their name. It's not the worst thing. They don't concede a ton of goals. They do concede frequently, though.
All across, snapped off the head of Sundstrom, who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Four minutes come and gone, halftime, and the goal from Ikaza in the 41st, the difference.
If you're Ben Pierman in the Charleston Battery, you got what you wanted. You're going to want to try and grab a second goal here. This is a team that wants to further themselves in every single conversation, goals, defensively, but as it relates to North Carolina FC, Ben Pierman's going to walk in that locker room and say that team is not done. They're built on character. They have fight in them. And if you're John Bradford, be a little bit more aggressive in the second half, open this game up, and chase an equalizer.
Halftime here in Charleston. It has been a rainy, wet, moist affair in South Carolina in the Low Country. 1-0 lead. It's Ikaza with the go-ahead. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports Network, presented by Best Western. As Johnny Nash would sing, I can see clearly now the rain is gone for a minute. It is Charleston 1, North Carolina nothing. The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, no singing necessary, but This is a game worth singing about. Pittsburgh and Loudoun coming up. Our next game here on CBS Sports Network.
I know this is going to be hard to believe for you, but Pittsburgh Riverhounds are really good on the back line.
Really?
Yeah, Bob Lilly, as he is every single season, has this team dense in nature. You know, I question some of their ability going forward. Certainly not the case for Abdulatif Abukora and Loudoun United. He loves to operate in those tight-knit windows just in front. But if Pittsburgh can step out of their comfort zone, be a little bit aggressive going forward, find that man right there, Augie Williams, this should be a battle for the ages in the Eastern Conference.
And then we are on CBS on July 19th, and it is El Clamico.
The balance is still there for Rhode Island FC, the core of their team that made it all the way to the USL Championship title game, falling just short against Colorado Springs. Similar conversation for what the Pittsburgh Riverhounds were. They're lacking a bit of creativity up top. They move the ball nearly better than anyone going forward. It's about 20 yards and in, fine-tuning their ability, starting to find goals. And then for Hartford Athletic, have only been shut out once in their last 7. They've also only got 1 clean sheet in their last 7. Brendan Burke's team opens it up, but this is about a collective effort and leadership that promotes experience and defensive results.
Rain won't make these fans vacate. Devin is drenched, but luckily he's prepared. Change for the on-camera when we come back. Show you what happened in the first half here on CBS Sports Network.
Baby step to back.
The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Charleston, a 1-0 lead over North Carolina at halftime. Come back into the booth, everyone. We're having a lot of fun. And Devin, dry again. Appreciate it. What do you make of the first half, other than it was very wet?
I would say for both managers, it went how they wanted the game to go, right? Some, as we saw the other night in the Birmingham game, as well as the Louisville-Colorado Springs game, not as clear and precise as you'd want to be in decision-making, but the overall tactical build, exactly what we thought it was going to be. A ball-dominant team in the Charleston Battery that were going to try and shape-shift you. They get that early on. Now, they had to get comfortable, certainly get acclimatized to the elements, but Joey Apponono, it's a bad touch that then benefits him. Now, as it bumps up, it gets onto the unfavored right foot. Really good movement. Juan David Torres all the way across. Emilia Casa on the quick little 1-2. But yeah, he's 17 years old. Finn Sundstrom, great clearance off the line to keep this at 0-0. Right back into action, though. This is what North Carolina FC wanted. As deep as they were and as much as they had to defend, suffering at times, this game is and always will be about them opening it up in transitional moments. Use the speed to your advantage. The flick on, long ball through, but good recovery by Apponono.
And then skip ahead to the 40th minute of play. This the breakthrough.
Not enough credit is going to be given here to Juan David Torres. This is what can be a very selfish player. They benefit from it, but it can also get him in trouble. Not the situation here. He allows Blackstock in that overlapping run to get down into the channel. They do a great job of unlocking the space. That's the man advantage that we were talking about right around the 25th minute, Mike. Took a little bit more patience than Ben Pierman would have liked, but finally paid off.
May we offer you this assortment of first half stats. Charleston had all of the ball and all the chances on frame.
Still going to need more of it, though. That's where we're at right now. 1-0 doesn't seem to be enough in this game. North Carolina FC have too much grit. They're willing to work to find their special moments.
It is halftime here in Charleston. Everyone having a good time. Yar. Battery trying to pillage 3 points. Back in a moment.
The travel map is brought to you by Best Western. How about where Husu Landry hasn't been? Not much.
You can't put a value truly on what Landry brings to this midfield. You know, there's coverage defensively, very important. Being able to lock down the space outside, so he's so deep lying, but those steps up that certainly were involved in the opening goal on the ball into the channel. 26 of 27 passing in the first half, and the only player that he didn't connect with, Mike, in the opening 45 minutes is wearing number 91.
Himself.
There you go.
Meanwhile, Devin, we always love to connect with our crew, and thankfully, Nick's German Kitchen did in fact provide pretzels. Adam, Joe, Marty, Gary, everyone's having a good time tonight, and showing off solid dance moves too.
Can we finally confirm that it's beer cheese and or mustard, or is the jury still out on that?
Not mixed together.
Oh, never.
But I would appreciate getting both cups. And
always salted, though. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
Certainly would help the rain. Keep you hydrated, too. Needed one of those breaks in the first half.
Yeah. Yep. One of our two favorite Bens helping to orchestrate that delivery. Thank you, Ben Clemens. Goated, as always, the Charleston front office. Well, it's Ikaza with the goal. It is North Carolina playing from behind here on the road. It's Alyssa Nichols with the whistle. And it is Louis Perez kicking off the second half. It is Mike Watson, Devin Kerr. And it is the USL on CBS Sports Network. From Patriots Point in Mount Pleasant, you can see the USS Yorktown off in the distance. We began this holiday weekend at the home of the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs on Friday night. And we concluded here in a city with great naval history in Charleston. Kaza scoring in the 40th minute. His first of the season. Battery ahead tonight. Long throw in by Maldonado. Bounces atop the 6 and lashed it. Fran takes a deflection, hits off the post. Olex Anderson nearly equalized right out of the break. That long throw proves quite valuable, but close, no cigar for North Carolina.
And nearly the breakthrough. Certainly the voice in the background of Ben Pierman. He's not happy. He wants him in front of the player. Great work rate by Dolabella just to be able to work this thing through the box. A bit fortunate, yes, but this is how they can find pay dirt. Again, 42%, a magical number for North Carolina FC on restarts where they have been able to grab goals. That's 4th best in the championship.
It's a side with 19 goals this year, 15 conceded, yet they sit 4th in the conference. It's been slim margins. It's only the 2nd time all year. It's their 14th game in which they've trailed at halftime. They are quite confident, quite proud, frankly, of their ability to defend in low-lying areas, take teams out of their game. They beat Louisville that way. I'd actually argue their performance in the Jägermeister Cup game was better despite the loss to Louisville last week when they beat Louisville in the regular season 2 weeks ago. You can be sure that they're going to have to take pride in it here in Charleston and come away with a result. A team that's this good at this is a scary prospect in the playoffs.
Well, tell me, and understanding there is a little bit of a difference from the squad I'm about to reference. San Antonio FC of 2022 reminds me a touch of it. Remember the organization of that team that won the Rest, won the Players' Shield, and won the USL Championship title? They kept the ball in front of them at all times. Now, their combination play was more apparent higher up the pitch. This team transitions a little bit more, but the whole idea that you want the opponent in front of you, you want to be mid to low. That San Antonio team was physically much more dominant as well, but that has come with North Carolina FC over the past 2 years. You know, speaking with John Bradford about how they got to this point, you identify players, who's going to come with you, 13 returning from that 2024 team, and then what is going to be the next level of that maturation process. Clear identity has certainly been the case for them. That has moved them into the top 4 in the East.
Dos Santos. Graham Smith, among the best defenders in the championship, crowned of the year in 2024. Unsurprising from a center back, Devin. I'm sure you're well aware. The idea that Ben Pierman calls him so unneedy, so humble. Graham Smith is never a problem.
Certainly not the words that he uses to describe our relationship.
Well, that's a different center back.
Yeah, he's selfless, Graham Smith. Doing the dirty work, athletic, physical. He tracks runners really well coming off the back line. A nice compliment to whomever the center back pairing is right now. The preferred is Joey Apononu, trying to get Leland Archer back. It's taking a bit longer than they would have liked.
Landry, that clearance right back up the gut. Summersall trying to win it away. Blackstock kept it alive long enough for Malloy. Dos Santos tried to power down the line.
It is still incredible that they were able to go 10 games unbeaten, basically without the services of either one of their starting center backs, Leland Archer and Graham Smith. Even more credit to the way that they shifted on the back line. Landry to outside back, Dos Santos into center back. Obviously Apononu involved heavily in the mix now.
Malloy ended up on that back line for a game.
Whether he liked it or not.
You like the challenge, at least. It's just a Charleston team. It's funny because Pep Guardiola's going, 27, 28 guys, it's tough. At Manchester City, we might need to shed some guys because it's hard to say, hey, you're not playing this week, you didn't make the squad this week. Charleston, by design, high quality, low quantity last year. They're trying to find a little more balance in that quantity this year, and it's proven fairly vital. They've added a couple players midstream here in Jeremy Kelly and Rubio Rabin. Rabin returning from international duty with Guatemala and is available off the bench. Torres turned and go for Ikaza, but he was fouled by Sundstrom. Most terrifying potential double sub in the league all year would be Cal Jennings and Rubio Rabin standing at the 4th official, and it is a genuine possibility. Set piece for Torres, which is terrifying for Jake McGuire in its own right.
More shots from anybody in the league outside the box. Dead ball situations are not really good, though. It's surveying what his options are with that magical wand of a left foot of his. It's going to be about the goalkeeper's location. How much is he willing to commit from an angle? And if I'm him with the elements, I'm going right at him.
Torres, Juan David Torres bounces, not spilled by McGuire.
Excellent save by Jake McGuire. This is about the hop right in front of him. Now, there's going to be traffic that starts to cloud his vision a little bit, but the timing, because it's not just about getting the body in front of him. Like, he catches this ball. And with the way that the precipitation has covered the moving piece itself, to be able to bring your body up on that and fully collect it, there's a reason why he's top 15 all time in saves in championship history.
Burner the service. Kept off of Summersall. Sundstrom the denial. John Bradford willing this team forward. There's a strategic move down to League One in 2021. Spent 3 years there, won the final against Charlotte Independence in 23. Back up last year, finished 8th in the Eastern Conference. Ousted by Louisville in the first round.
Just the numbers right now for the Charleston Battery, too good defensively. The full commitment of North Carolina FC to attack this game. A little bit hesitant for my liking. I certainly would imagine a similar sentiment being shared in the technical area by John Bradford and the visitors.
Against a team that has scored over 2 goals a game, best attack in USL. Is there an element of just keeping touching distance late into the game and trying to nick one on the road?
I would agree with that, but we're 55 minutes into this game and there's one opportunity. Alex Anderson, that was what, 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in on that breakthrough that really you can look and say that's a quality opportunity. And even that one involved Joey Apononu moving them on a diagonal, and you still had Luis Zamudio in coverage on the near post.
Yeah, that and then the ball off the post about a minute and a half out of halftime. Even that took a deflection off Apononu to get there.
Yeah, more lucky than good, which sometimes is not bad.
Anderson closing in. It's met by Zamudio. He is clearly the man for NCF.
Softer, so to plant and turn more difficult for defenders to make that move in general, yet alone maintain speed. Smart by the striker.
Alex Anderson starring for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, top 5 all-time scorer for that Caribbean nation. Went to Seattle and played with Ezra Hendrickson 2016. Ezra, maybe the best player from St. Vincent and the Grenadines all time. Ended up falling out of the pro game for a number of years. Went to Richmond a couple seasons, and in North Carolina, 13 goals last year. 17 the last year in League One. Deflected off Landry, and Torres takes advantage that extended screen to open up a bit of space. And Charleston sets up shop. Nearly 80% of the ball in the first half. Charleston reached the conference final a year ago. Like just about everybody, was on the wrong end of Rhode Island FC late in 2024. Those Colorado Springs ultimately ended that dream run for RIFC. Arturo Rodriguez, Bryce Washington entangled.
Did you see the numbers coming out of Pawtucket yesterday? 10,749 in attendance.
We look forward to seeing all 10,749 Saturday, July 19th. We'll be there, the whole CBS crew. El Clamico, Hartford.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. The heart wants what it wants.
It does. It wants clams.
And Hartford.
It really just wants clams. You a clam strips fan?
I'm pretty much a lover of all seafood, Mike.
By the time clam strips are done, I'm not really sure you would argue that they are in fact still seafood. When done right. The USL on CBS kicking off July with that hot showdown in the Championship's Eastern Conference. Rhode Island, the final runner-up. Northeast rival Hartford Athletic. Saturday, July 19th, 4 p.m. Eastern. Only on CBS.
I wonder if John Bradford is considering a change here in the midfield. Somersault has been a bit more aggressive right on cue. He seems to be laboring a bit, though.
Would it be Colin Martin? It's a very different profile.
I just can't figure out as to whether or not it's fatigue or just a lack of understanding positionally within the game.
Sprinting onto this, Malloy angling back. Slide from Ikaza comes up empty. And when it rains enough, and the field certainly hasn't helped, this opens up for North Carolina. Chipped over toward Anderson, it's out of his reach. But it can feel like quicksand a little bit That's a decent breakout for North Carolina.
This is very similar to the goal, though, that they scored in the 2-1 result. It's the first one on the night. They stay deep. Great read by Sundstrom, and then notice his head. This dissecting ball right off the outside, through the middle. Perfect. The immediate layoff, and here comes the work rate. Anderson in transition. You've got speed on the outside. Rafa, when he hits this ball, difficult with the elements to get enough English on the ball to sit up for him. But that's going to be well done, boys. Dig in. Let's get more of that here. Good move by North Carolina FC.
Evan Conway, available off the bench, scored in that March 29th game, the opening goal. They got an own goal from Graham Smith. Cal Jennings, a penalty right before halftime. Ultimately, North Carolina weathered the pressure and carry at the end. Picked up that aforementioned 2-1 win just 3 weeks into the season. All in, takes a deflection. MD Myers was atop the 18, trying to flick that on. It was a defensive hit over Ikaza. Corner at the hour mark. Arturo Rodriguez. Knock to the head, play continues. Somersault away, and now the referee's gonna stop play off the clearance. Says it's a potential head injury inside the 18-yard box, worthy of stopping play.
It certainly felt like there was contact here. Dangerous ball once again from little short corner. Arturo Rodriguez threatening on the near post. It's actually the second ball that comes right through. Yep, the hand just comes a little bit high. Not a ton in. I think it was more so getting poked in the eye.
Perez back up. Charleston making a double sub. I'll tell you about it in a moment.
Coming out of the match, the battery, number 10, Arturo Rodriguez. Also coming out of the match, number 9, MD Myers. Coming into the match, the battery, number 26, Cal Jennings. Also coming into the match, number 29, Jeremy Kelly.
Here comes one of the best scorers in the championship, Cal Jennings, in off the bench. 11 goals, 5 of them from the penalty spot. Jeremy Kelly, a recent acquisition. It's MD Myers who comes off. Those are pretty stunning numbers over the last 11 and a half months.
To be fair, the same 3 names over full 2 seasons are going to be atop it, but I want to hone in here on Juan David Torres and MD Myers. Struggled a little bit on the night, just the unwillingness by the back 3 for North Carolina FC to really go after it. But this is the luxury you have if you're Ben Pierman. The rich get richer, so to say. Marcanic departs in the offseason for Castellón in Spain. You have to go find someone. So what does he do? No, I've got Juan David Torres right here. I bring in a striker in Cal Jennings, and MD Myers just understands his role so well, working off everybody, Mike. So much so that goal contributions over a 90-minute span, they've got 3 of the top 4 in the league. I just want one, you know?
I mean, Louisville's doing fine with just one.
It was interesting to pick Ben Pierman's mind on it and asking him, well, how do you get more? And I alluded to this in the open when we walked through some of the numbers. He goes, it's an afterthought. Because of the quality of creativity and the way that they play, that they are going to get goals and assists. That's simple. He thinks the hard part is trying to further that conversation, which is about where the defensive line is, work rate off the ball. and the ability in one-on-one situations defensively to be the guy. That's not just about Juan David Torres, MD Myers, and Cal Jennings. He feels like that next step also includes Arturo Rodriguez and the recent acquisition in Jeremy Kelly, and that's a scary thought that there could be another gear for this Battery team.
This is Juan David Torres not living the ideal life. You know, I sort of have an issue with that, to be honest. If Torres is going to pump the brakes, does he not have a right to do that?
I would agree with you.
Okay.
Consistently inconsistent on the night. We've had that.
Sure. Melissa Nichols just showed yellow to somebody. In the aftermath of all that, Charleston with the lead. And my goodness, it's the sun. Aaron Malloy captains this Charleston side. That was one word too many.
Yep, in English as well.
Well, I mean, more of an Irish brogue, I would say. Native Dubliner getting his last thought in. One thought too many. That's the second player carded for dissent. So Luis Perez got one the commencement of a much-needed first-half hydration break. By the way, that's Malloy's 5th yellow card this year.
Yeah, communication's got to come up a notch now. What a tackle. Love it.
Somersault, that's clean.
If you're John Bradford, you are telling every single player in a red shirt right now, as you become more aggressive, which I don't mind it, you got to keep the relationships with each other. This is about organization. If you move the line higher, that's not a problem. The issue is, over the course of the season so far, halfway through, is they start to veer away from those ideas. You have to keep the clean lines move. Pass players on. Do not allow that space right there to be stepped into.
Jennings! Finally, it's Washington. Attack still on. You can see water starting to tread behind the ball now. That was not the case earlier. It's just, I think, a little too much. Field's held up remarkably well, all considered. Torres, Jennings, Guire.
Game of cat and mouse now. As much as NCFC is willing to chase it, how much is Charleston really willing to open things up here? Still maintain that it feels like they would need another one. Pad the stats a little bit, grab a second goal and seal things off. 10 games unbeaten when leading at halftime. No reason to think that there'd be anything different than that. North Carolina FC seems to fall right in to that equation. Concede more in the second half, score more as well. And it's going to be about that direct ball up over the top. Notice they come higher. That's the only true threat that they've been able to concede on the night, is breaking levels like that.
Mensigan. Perez, 4 hours separated, Cary and Charleston, 287 miles down I-95. Sides who have met dating back to the year 2000. Summersall, 20th all-time meeting. They weren't in the same league for a number of those years. North Carolina, the beginning of that was known, of course, as the Railhawks. That was never falling. Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. Got Monterey Bay and Orange County coming up on Friday night, ESPN2, 9 p.m. Eastern time. As we showed you at halftime, Pittsburgh and Loudoun will play on Sunday evening over on CBS Sports Network. And then Detroit and Pittsburgh match up on ESPN2 July 18th. The perfect appetizer for July 19th, Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, CBS. Left coverage of Rhode Island and Hartford. You know, I was thinking about this. I felt bad.
Oh boy.
I brought up the clam thing for...
Oh, Clamico?
Well,
Clam strips?
Clam strips. I don't want that to be misconstrued that I would ever eat clam pizza.
Stop clamoring about it then. Have you really never had white garlic clam pizza?
Well,
it is... I wish I could share the look that you just graced upon me with the viewers at home.
Ahmad Al-Kwak coming in off the bench here in a moment. That moment might be right about now. Dolabella with the shove.
Your attention fans, substitution for North Carolina FC coming out of the match, number 13.
Fresh legs onto that front line to be able to be a bit more aggressive. I am a touch surprised here, Mike, that they haven't leaned into Evan Conway at all. It makes me wonder about his health. Now, injured early on this season, trying to make his way back. He has started to compile a few appearances, though you would think with his quality goal-scoring ability, 3 goals in 8 games, and certainly what he's been able to do historically. Back 9 with San Diego in the championship a few seasons ago, 10 the year after in 2023, that he would be the go-to guy.
It's the first sub window for North Carolina. Into the 73rd minute tonight. Ikaza's goal in the 40th, standing the test of time. Kelly. Continues here for Charleston. It is Jennings. McGuire closed that all the way to the line, and Jennings couldn't lob him.
And they lured the back line just a little bit higher as they chase with pressure. Sundstrom got himself in trouble, and great turn here by Ikaza to be able to free Dos Santos up high. This first touch by Cal Jennings that enables him the angle for the goalkeeper, almost as good as the save by Jake McGuire. Again, 15th all-time in total saves in championship history, 34 shutouts to his name. Now there is the one blemish on the night, but keeps his team well within reach.
Malloy. Kelly Malloy, part of the Memphis contingent, players that were with Ben Pierman previous. Juan David Torres. Torres crossing, Sundstrom clearing, comes high to Maldonado. That is Anderson against the world. Ultimately deemed there as a foul behind the play, and if Anderson had latched onto that, would have allowed that. It's not a foul at all. Is this a drop ball? Two wrongs make a right, three rights make a left. What are we doing?
That's almost as necessary as the refreshments that are right around the corner.
Wait a minute. Devin, do I need to re-educate you about the wet bulb thermometer? Because I will. I'll do it.
Nope. That's really good pressure. You know, right up on the backside, quality defending, just textbook on reaching the player right at the time. Ball hits his foot.
Squared across, never got to Alquac. Neuroscience major, statistics minor at UNC, didn't play the first 2 years, became a really valuable piece for those Tar Heels. It's gonna come with a yellow card.
And give NCFC a lot of credit here. It's the first bit of pressure on the opposite end of the field, Mike, but also the repress that comes centrally to make sure that when the turnover does take place, they converge immediately. They eliminate an outlet ball into Cal Jennings, 2v1. You'd like to clean up some of the moments going forward, but as high as a lineup they're exhibiting right now against the Charleston Battery, this is something that you'd like John Bradford and his guys to reach a little bit deeper in the arsenal earlier on in the match, give a different look, not be as predictable. Charleston Battery struggling with the high tempo defensively.
Now you saw Landry committed the foul, but Jennings kicked the ball away after, so he's been shown a yellow. Rodrigo da Costa from this neck of the woods is a decent proposition. Maldonado's got a strong right foot too. There is nothing easy about this, and there is a ton of traffic out in front of Zamudio. North Carolina could very well equalize right here. That is 3 engaging in the wall from North Carolina, and 5 in the wall for Charleston, and 1 trying to tell the wall not to break too soon. Is it how to make friends and influence people? Malloy's been given his own special line. All right, let's see what North Carolina can do with this. Is there an equalizer for the roadside? Maldonado into the wall. Da Costa, the second, first time.
Just not enough leverage underneath it. Mikey Maldonado trying to recreate the spectacular that was his upper 90 goal in the 4-2 result against the Oakland Roots.
Devin, the National Weather Service describes the wet bulb globe temperature reading as a forecast tool indicating expected heat stress on the human body when in direct sunlight. It estimates the effect of temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and of course, solar radiation on humans using a combination of temperatures from 3 separate thermometers: a wet bulb, a black globe, and a dry bulb. And by utilizing this outstanding technology, it's been determined we need a hydration break.
It's hard for me to even admit this in front of one person, yet alone many.
Yep.
A decade into our relationship, and I'm shocked at what just came out of your mouth.
Let's take a look at the goal for Charleston that put the Battery ahead. Have to go back to the 40th minute of play. It's Emilio Icaza at the tail end.
This team used to be very predictable, the A to B to C's. We keep talking about the different ideas that Ben Pierman gives them. Juan David Torres, the freedom to challenge the game, the release and deep-lying nature as Husu Landry pumps himself up about 10 yards. timing in the channel by Blackstock, and then the explosion into the final third for Emilio Icaza. His first on the year, Langston Blackstock's first assist on the year, and just the one that separates the most important number atop the scoreboard. North Carolina FC have been aggressive over the last 5 minutes. Still about 10 to go. And John Bradford has gone for more reinforcements as Shane Cervania will enter the mix at that wingback position. Burner a little bit quiet on the night, though, to be fair. Defensively, a ton of work to be done, covering Mikey Maldonado and trying to figure out exactly where the next step was going to come from Juan David Torres.
Cervania in, Burner out, Olex Anderson is done. Evan Conway has been out of the lineup the better part of 2 months into the game. He's got 3 goals. They all came in the first 5 games of the season. It's actually 84 degrees now, the humidity 75%, and while it rained heavily in the first half of the game, advantage played here to Kelly, the necessity of a hydration break is actually much more considerate in these conditions. Okay. All considered, that should probably come with a yellow card too. Here is Rubio Rubin. He is the hero in Guatemala. What a run for Rubio's side in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. He's set to come in a moment. Played on Wednesday night, started against the United States in a continental semifinal, and there was immediate reporting. He enjoys where he's at in Charleston right now. It was a good conversation that brought him in, an acknowledgement that it may not be for the longest term if other options came beckoning, but that there is genuine interest. Landry's going to get a yellow card. That's one too many for him, I would say. It's his 6th yellow this year.
Beautiful step by Mikey Maldonado, though. Keep asking for this team to be more aggressive going forward. There was the touch just prior to that that forced the shape to change here. Blackstock has to come back and retreat, and there's the speed by Landry. Haven't had to utilize it a touch, Husu Landry, but the way that the arm extends away from the body, that allows Maldonado to survey what should be pretty decent look at goal here. The angle's a little bit difficult to deal with, both for the goalkeeper as well as the ball striker. Now, if you're Mikey Maldonado, this is exactly the same position that he went far post against the Oakland Roots. You could also try and work this in a quick little set piece where Cervania into the channel.
Maldonado, that's a foul. And a knock to the head.
Trader, it's head.
Neto Santos.
Yeah, he takes a hard one here. Just so many bodies in front of you, and you're trying to track your runner, Mike, but also try and figure out the exact timing of the ball. And Paco Craig, it's not malicious in nature. They're both making a move. It's certainly contact, and for Neto Santos, what a piece he has been for Ben Pierman. Picked him up from the great Bob Lilly and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Championship pedigree dating back to Chris Grassi and Marshall, a national champion in his own right. Of course, came over here in 2024 after the Battery had produced the biggest point turnaround from season to season, 22 to 23, en route to their title run, falling just short to Phoenix Rising.
Sub here for Charleston. This is Icaza coming out. And here is Rubio Rubin. Icaza scored the goal in the 40th minute of play, and Rubin comes in. Tom Bogert reporting from sources that Rubin's performances at Gold Cup caught the eye of several South American clubs, but that Rubin would prefer to go to MLS. Added that Rubin happy with Charleston, waiting for a potential chance. The Battery, as Bogert notes and as you and I both know, have not held players back when they do have the opportunity to go. Ball nodded back by Cervania. Tim Daniels was in San Diego on Landon Donovan and Nate Miller's staffs when Rubio Rabin was with Loyal and lit the league on fire before a move to Real Salt Lake. Then went on to Mexico. Rabin, just a couple months into his tenure here in Charleston, has regained a little bit of that ignition around his name with that tremendous performance with Guatemala. Spent last year at Querétaro, south of the border. Former U.S. international, then made the one-time switch. For being 7 caps for the United States, over 30 for Guatemala. That was their best run, the Gold Cup, in over 30 years. Which is to say, since before Rubio Rabin was born. Dev, if you're a talent scout watching right now, whether it be a South American club or it's an MLS club, what does Rubio Rabin bring to your team?
It's a loaded question. In terms of the profile, what's going to benefit the Charleston Battery the most is his back to goal. Spaces like this where you can find him deep in the pocket. They struggle a little bit with that. Certainly with Cal Jennings, what a turn that is.
Dos Santos ultimately loses his footing and the referee believes that's of his own volition.
He's a guy that you want to be able to give him looks in front of goal, you know, that kind of penalty mark in type movement, which they are excellent at. I think the real question right now is what he's capable of in this short window. You mentioned the run at Gold Cup, Mike. A little bit of frustration for him in the match against Jamaica that he came off the bench. It did well, but then you get the nod against Guadeloupe, of course, a goal and an assist, follows it up with another great performance and a goal in the penalty victory over Canada. And he showed well against United States men's national team. All in all, emotionally carrying the country, right? And so you have this override physically that is the demand, but also the mental toll that it takes on you to sort of bring yourself back down to earth and reestablish yourself into a different environment, a different system. That's not the easiest thing to do. Getting him back up to pace, 15 to 20 minutes, you know, and then grow that over the next 2 to 3 matches is what Ben Pierman and co are looking to do. But a profile overall that certainly will benefit the Battery in the long run.
All the while, you could argue the most exciting player in that national team for the U.S. this year has been Diego Luna, who came out of El Paso.
Oh, we don't really think it's an argument. You're holding the Sharpie. I'm just talking about it.
Well, if you can bring 26 to a World Cup, he may have just played his way into it.
Well, the heart that he possesses, certainly quite similar to what this North Carolina FC team is composed of. This young man is great to watch, Finn Sundstrom. Whether he ends up at the University of North Hill with, you got Cal Jennings, Rubio Rabin has just come in. He kept MD Myers at bay.
Strong step off the back line by Apanonu. Charleston seems a lot more intentional about getting the second than they are necessarily not conceding. North Carolina's got 1 sub remaining, and Adam Luckhurst is waiting to enter. Have a limited amount of time to try and do damage. Seeking Rabin. Charleston preparing a change as well. Looks like Chris Allen could come on in a moment. Adam Luckhurst, his dad Mick English, went to St. Cloud State. Started as a football kicker, ended up at Cal, and then a 7-year NFL career with the Falcons. Luckhurst 5 years in college, Davidson, South Carolina, and then his final year in all-ACC campaign at Duke. He's actually the second most famous St. Cloud alumnus involved in this game, by the way. Crack producer Brady Kajala, proud Husky.
I didn't know that, by the way.
I mean, we're talking about one of the great athletic institutions of the upper Midwest.
I don't disagree. The problem is our producer didn't pay his bookstore bill, so the diploma's not hanging above the desk.
Oh, now
hopefully mom's at home and is going to bail him out.
As mom's sitting there going, really? No, he's fine.
You got to stay honed in here if you're North Carolina. Again, it's just a 1-0 game, minutes to go. The margins as tight as they can be in the Eastern Conference. The ability to close ground on Loudon. Even further for the Charleston Battery with games in hand, but the Charleston Battery, Ben Pierman, very clear that while they want retribution for the 2-1 loss in Cary back in March, this is about keeping pace with Louisville City atop the East and the Players' Shield standings. How about Cal Jennings?
Jennings driving all the way in, and eventually McGuire. Into stoppage time, we did have that elongated hydration stoppage. 6 added minutes. Twisting away, last touch by Mensigan. I mean, you know St. Cloud State, Herb Brooks was their coach, hockey. A number of NCAA wrestling championships. If it's played indoors, St. Cloud State's good at it. This is it for Landry. And they're undefeated in football ever since Brady graduated.
A good shift on the night for Husu Landry, really clean as in actions in the midfield, and when they were willing to be aggressive going up high, a tremendous amount of responsibility for him to lock down those channel spaces with the aggression at the outside back spots. That's going to be the role of Chris Allen as they look to close the game out, and this will be an interesting relationship out on the flanks now between Segbers and Blackstock. Who do you want to push a little bit higher? How much are you willing to do so? And I wonder if Jeremy Kelly makes his way to the opposite side of the field or not. It's a possessional game right now to kill it off.
That's it sub-wise. Both sides have made their 5. The addition of Segbers and Allen after Luckhurst came into the game a moment ago. Well, into Conway never reached pay dirt. North Carolina into the final third. Can they steal a result here? A flare off of Segbers out for a corner. Maldonado will do the honors. Keep an eye on 5 and 66. On the backside, Craig and Sundstrom. Maldonado. Craig came rushing toward the ball. Back over by Cervania. Maldonado will send it back forward. Header toward frame, snatched by Zamudio. Decent look for Bryce Washington.
The biggest fear for Ben Pierman was going to be getting countered with space in behind. The second was on restarts and winning those second chance battles. Physically, he knew it was going to be a massive demand, very similar to what took place midweek against the Birmingham Legion. Though with just 3 minutes to go, job well done and easily collected by Luis Zamudio.
It should leak some time off the clock. Rainy night here in Charleston, that's dissipated. The Battery can move within 2 points of the Players' Shield lead. And of course, high noon in that Shield race, a massive game in Louisville on August the 9th. that may well set the tone for the remainder of the campaign. Charleston will go to New Mexico and then host, it's been a really solid Miami team before that. If they can handle their business there, they can retake the lead regardless of what Louisville does in the interval at Lynn Family Stadium, beginning of August. They'll bring this back. There's a foul before the service. The Ottawa Red Blacks and the Edmonton Elks. CFL action coming your way momentarily here on CBS Sports Network. This is the Charleston Battery and North Carolina FC matching up in the USL Championship. Both in the top four. North Carolina with games in hand on everybody, trying to steal a point at the Eastern Conference runners-up a season ago. Maldonado will put it in play, entering the final minute of stoppage time. Knocked away from Washington, into the area, hit toward frame. Zamudio dives down with the denial, and maybe holding on to the extra 2 points as he turns away Rafa Menzigen.
Just enough pressure to make sure that this strike is coming from distance, just outside the top of the 18. Excellent first touch by Rafa. The problem is it's a bit too far away for his liking and has to stretch to get anything on it. And Zamudio, he has been such a great addition to this team. Happy to pick it up.
Kelly couldn't hit Jennings. It's now or never for North Carolina. First ball's away. Malloy, Rubio. Take this to the corner. You can see it out. Is there any time remaining? We've gone to 6 minutes. Did have some substitutions in stoppage. That'll mean North Carolina will play beyond the 6. They've got to get it forward. Charleston not giving any space. Chip to the line, stayed in. Running the inside of the channel, Menzigen. Allen closes down. Rolled into the width. Last chance saloon. DaCosta. Ball put up by Maldonado. Allen sends it away. And still it goes on. Washington forward. Into the box once more. Drops toward Conway. And cleared. And that's it. It's full time. Charleston see the goal from Ikaza. Stand up from the 40th minute. And the Battery back within 2 points in the Eastern Conference. Rain, pretzels, and a lot of action. Charleston see Ikaza's goal the winner. The wrap-up on the other side, USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Emilio Icaza, the game winner tonight for the Charleston Battery, as they move within 2 points of Louisville atop the Eastern Conference. Coming up next, it is CFL football. Edmonton taking on Ottawa. The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Loudon and Pittsburgh coming your way here on CBS Sports Network next Friday. Until then, for Devin, Mike, saying this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports.